I want a divorce. Do you and your spouse have fights that end in those words? You know the routine. You and your spouse begin bickering over something minor. It's stupid, really. Volume of the TV, the dishes, etc. But it opens the floodgates and the real fight is on. This is the fight that's been brewing under the surface like magma waiting for a volcano to lose its top. Statistically, your fight will involve money. Someone's ego gets hurt, and in that moment of pain, they blurt out, "I want a divorce." Words like that can't be taken back, like a bell can't be unrung. This is the fork in the road. This is where you both either take some time to cool down and realize how stupid the fight was in the first place, or you realize that your marriage has been in some serious trouble for a while, and you've both just been too afraid to admit it. At this point, some couples begin a frank discussion about the best way to get divorced, in the same manner that a CEO would discuss selling a branch of a company. In these potential divorce discussions, there's a common thread of matters to be considered. A divorce effectively takes one home and then divides it into two. Everything should be considered for division if anticipating a divorce. Retirement benefits, payment of alimony, health insurance, that sort of thing. However, there are a few things that need extra consideration. These considerations can be listed under three categories: children, finances, and property. Quick plug, if you find this video helpful, hit the like button so that way YouTube will show it to more people. You need to grab a sheet of paper, yes, they still make that stuff, and draw a line right down the middle. One side's for you and one side's for your spouse. At the top, write separate property. This is where you and your spouse will list the things that you each owned before marriage, received as gifts, or as a result of inheritance. These things aren't to be considered for division, but what isn't separate property is automatically presumed to be community property. All community property has to be divided. Next, grab a second sheet of paper and write community property at the top. This is where you're going to list everything that you and your spouse own that isn't listed on the separate property sheet. You don't necessarily need to figure out who gets what right now, but you definitely need to create a very accurate inventory of all of the community property. Everyone's first instinct is to demand custody of the children. Unfortunately, some parents fight for custody simply as a bargaining chip to use against the other parent. Discard any thoughts about what you want and spend your time discussing what's best for them. Courts will always consider the best interest of the child. There's no such thing as best interest of the parent. Dividing the finances, like debt, savings, income, is usually quite tricky because very often there's only one spouse working. In your discussions, consider dividing things fairly instead of dividing them equally. If after all of this, you still want a divorce, now you're ready to call an attorney. If you haven't seen our How to Choose an Attorney or How to Call a Lawyer videos, make sure you check those out. From all of us here at Matthew Harris Law, we appreciate you sharing this video with your circle of friends.